That's his thing. All right, so wool and molasses. Those are your two words there. Everybody's got them. That was terrifying.
Sound like a squeaking door.
Let's continue on.
That's how I let him say really funny.
It's a tax on molasses. It doesn't seem like that would be a huge market. Oh, molasses.
Yep.
Of course. But those taxes were about trying to regulate trade in a mercantilist way more than trying to pay back war debt. And also, they were easy to avoid via smuggling.
How did we avoid paying taxes? Smuggling! Our favorite pastime! Smuggling!
I wish I could smell a bunch of stealing. I used to steal ketchup.
Did you write down smuggling?
No.
You should, instead of texting.
Yeah, stop texting.
Nah.
He's not even. Says the one who wanted to.
Yeah.
Nah, pull it back out.
Hey, yo.
All right.
My pull-out game true.
Via smuggling.
What? I'm talking about.
Focus. Yes,
Is
Les.
smuggling still done today in our state?
Oh, smuggling's done like all across the world at all
Like
times.
they get can you smuggle like any item, including animals?
Oh yeah. Honestly, the first time that you know how we have like outbreaks of monkeypox right now. The first outbreak of monkeypox in the United States was due to smuggling of not monkeys. It was actually smuggling of prairie dogs. Prairie dogs were a big pet sensation, and I don't know why. It's creepy. But people brought in prairie dogs as like an in vogue pet, and the prairie dogs had been exposed to monkeypox in transport, and it spread to humans in that grouping, and there was a big outbreak of monkeypox. It was in the late 80s, early 90s. There was a huge outbreak of monkeypox all throughout the Midwest. Yes, they did have to quarantine. They were able to kind of nip it in the bud quickly, but they did have to kill all the prairie dogs involved. Yeah. Yes.
I hate him.
First question: why did they name the disease
Monkeypox?
monkeypox?
Don't have an answer to that.
All right. And second question: is
Yes.
it illegal to own a panther? Okay.
Depends on the state. Most states, yes.
Even America.
It depends on each individual state, but most states, yes.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, everybody has smuggling? Yes, yes. Excellent. All right, let's continue on.
Because this is America. But mostly the colonists were angry because they didn't have any say about the new taxes that Britain was imposing. I mean, after all, by 1760, some colonies had been setting their own taxes through their own legislatures for 100 years. So the taxes themselves weren't really the problem. It was their lack of parliamentary representation. The first purportedly oppressive tax, the Sugar Act of 1764, extended the Molasses Act by changing the tax on imports from the Caribbean from 6 cents per gallon all the way up to 3 cents per gallon.
So notice, this isn't an answer, but notice that the price had actually gone down. It was more the fact that they were now enforcing the tax, whereas before they weren't. They weren't making anyone pay it, but now they were saying, hey, we know that you're smuggling. We're going to stop you. Now we're going to force you to buy our crappy goods from England and not let you buy the goods from the country that you want. Nathan had his hand up first. Yes, sir.
Question.
Yes.
So, before, even if they had all the smuggling going on, did they have police officers that were there?
Yeah, but usually the police officers were involved in the smuggling. Yeah. Yeah, everyone was involved.
Anyway.
That's why. That's why, like, the police officers, the governors, like, everybody was involved, and that's why nobody was doing anything about it, because they all benefited from it. But then the British were like, no, seriously, we're being serious now. We want to crack down on this. And suddenly the colonists are like, whoa, 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 whoa. We had an arrangement. We had a deal here. And that's why they got mad, because they had been doing this for so long. It was kind of an understood that nobody was going to enforce this.
So what you're saying was that it was kind of their thing, like their little hobby thing.
Yeah, it was a rule that nobody followed, and then suddenly we're expected to follow the rule.
That seems unfair.
Yes.
They cut their.
Okay, Duan, your question. Do you remember?
My teacher from England.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. I'm so glad that we shared that moment.
Wait, what?
Tax, but they decided to start enforcing it by stamping out smuggling. And to that end, the act also gave British courts the right to try colonial smugglers, taking that power away from colonial courts, which had been notoriously lenient when it came to smuggling on account of how they enjoyed smuggled rum as much as the next guy. But those initial acts weren't nearly as annoying as the Stamp Act, passed in 1765. The Stamp Act declared that all printed material had to carry a stamp. Unsurprisingly, that stamp was not free. This was purely to gain revenue for Britain, and it mostly affected people who used a lot of paper, like newspaper printers and lawyers, just the kind of people you want to anger about taxes. So in October, protesters organized the Stamp Act Congress, which after a meeting decided to boycott Britain.
Okay. What did the Stamp Act Congress decide that they were going to do? Delon.
Boycott British goods.
Good. They were going to boycott British goods. Boycott British goods. What does it mean when you boycott something? Nathan.
Switch.
Not switch, but
It's like not using it.
yeah, you're not going to use it. You're not going to purchase it. You're not going to have anything to do with it. So if you're going to boycott the British goods, you're not going to have anything to do with that product anymore. You're going to go out of your way to not have anything to do with that product. So a boycott means that you're going to go out of your way to not use that product anymore. Even if it's wildly inconvenient for you, you're going to boycott it. So this means that suddenly the British are not going to get this revenue, this money from these goods being purchased. And a boycott can be very effective to get your point across. If everybody that purchases this product no longer purchases this product anymore, and they do it for a long enough period of time, it can drive a company out of business. They just have to kind of stick with it. Yes, go ahead. You're welcome.
The first major coordinated action by all the colonies together, and it might be the first time that we can speak of the colonies acting in a united way, almost like, say, a government. Committees of correspondence, which had been created to encourage opposition to earlier acts, now grew to coordinate the boycott efforts, and they helped people become more aware of their liberties, and they also spurred street actions that occasionally became violent. These direct actions were organized by groups calling themselves the Sons of Liberty, and get...
Okay. So what were these groups that were organizing these actions called?
The Sons of Liberty.
Good. The Sons of Liberty. The Sons of Liberty. So these are going to be these organizer groups. And so now you have kind of coordinated street action groups. They're going to be the ones that are calling together who's doing these protests. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. They're going to be the ones that are calling together these protests. They're going to be the ones that are saying, this is the new protest. And some of the protests were peaceful. Some of them were boycotts, but some of them got a little wild. Some of them got a little crazy.
Coordinated action worked. The British Parliament repealed the Stamp Act, but they did pass the Declaratory Act, which was...
Okay. And I apologize. Oh no, it's still there. Whew. So, what was this coordinated actions effect? What were they able to do?
Pass the Declaratory Act.
Wait.
The British repeated the Step Act.
They repealed the Stamp Act.
For 6?
Yes. Repealed. You just need the word repealed.
For 6, right?
Yes.
Right.
They repealed it. And if you repeal something, it's the equivalent of yeah, you're taking it back. You're erasing it. You're like, oh, we made a boo boo. We're sorry. We're gonna take it away. Which that's pretty awesome for something that was so hated. For the government to be like, okay, you guys hated that. We're gonna take it out. So this is an example of here's a protest that was effective. It gets a result. The protest works. We get a result that essentially ensures the British government takes it away. Unfortunately, they come back with some other rules that the colonists are like, come on, dude, you just took away things that we hated. Why did you come back with more stuff that we hate? Like, I thought you were going to be cool. Why are you bringing more of the same horrible stuff? I thought you were going to be reasonable.
Listen, you're not the boss of us. We can tax you. We don't want to tax you right now as it happens, but we could if we wanted to, but we won't, but we could. So the repeal of the Stamp Act was seen by many in the colonies as a huge victory, but most of the people organizing the protests were elites, the kind of people who use paper. But once you start talking about the idea of representation, everybody wants in. Meanwhile, Great Britain still needed money, so Chancellor of the Exchequer Charles Townshend got Parliament to pass new taxes in 1767. The so-called Townshend Acts also created a new board of customs to stop smuggling, which we didn't like one bit. You don't like it when I say we? Well, tough luck. I'm an American. Bring back the Libertage, Stan. Many colonists again responded with a boycott, and women got in on the act this time, with the Daughters of Liberty encouraging homespun clothes to replace...
Okay, so now which group is going to encourage people to wear homemade clothes? Nathan. Good, the Daughters of Liberty. The Daughters of Liberty. So now we've got a new organization that is coming to the forefront. So if you're not sure where we are, if you got a little confused, we are answering number 7. Okay? The Daughters of Liberty.
Daughters of Liberty. Wait, it's number 7, right?
Yep, number 7. So the Daughters of Liberty. Now, not everybody is going to be happy with these kind of fighting against the power, going against the forces of the government. Because all of these protests often meant not buying things from British shops. But there were lots of shopkeepers that lived here in the colonies. And those shopkeepers are like, but I need you to buy things from me. I live here. Could you stop protesting? Because I need to make money. You guys protesting is really causing me problems. So those people are definitely not going to be pro Sons of Liberty and Daughters of Liberty. Hello? Did we take a nap? Come on, John.
Probably.
Not all the states were on board. Like, artisans loved the boycotts because they got more money. But merchants from cities like Philadelphia and New York weren't.
Okay, so which cities in particular do we see this pushback? Karen. No, you.
New York and Philadelphia.
Yeah, these cities, Philadelphia and New York. Because remember, you have New York City and Philadelphia. They're both cities.
That's both for A.
Huh?
That's both for A.
Nope, they're one's A, one's B. So Philadelphia and New York were both like, could we calm down with this protesting? Because we rely on people buying British goods. We don't get our products from France. We don't get our products from Spain. We rely on British goods. We need our products to come from England. So y'all having a protest outside, not helpful. You going home and like making your own clothes, not helping us. We'd really appreciate if you could just calm down with this whole protest because it is really messing up our business. Let's see. Yeah, let's get into the massacre, and we'll end with the massacre today.
Made their livings by importing and selling the very goods that were now being boycotted. On occasion, protests did get out of hand, as in the Boston Massacre of March 5th, 1770, which, while it was not much of a massacre, was definitely the worst outcome of a snowball fight in America.
Okay. Yes.
It's answer number 9.
Yes.
March 5th,
Oh.
1770. Wait.
Careful. What?
Started as what event? Oh, the worst outcome of a snowball fight in American history.
Yeah. We want snowball fight. We want snowball fight.
I like snowball fights.
So, essentially, the way that this went down. Yes, Nathan.
What kind of snowball fight?
That I'm trying to
What do
tell
you
you.
think?
I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so you have a bunch of soldiers. They're outside of the tax collection station. Their job was to ensure that the tax collection station is protected and well regulated in terms of nobody's going to start some trouble. Well, a bunch of sailors were out drinking, and as they're coming by, they're messing with each other, as a bunch of drunken sailors would. And they're chucking snowballs back and forth at one another. As they are heading past each other, they pass the soldiers. One of the snowballs hits one of the soldiers, and it's a cloudy, kind of yucky night. And in this kind of cloudy, yucky night, one of the soldiers kind of freaks out. And he's like, hey, what's going on? What's happening? Wait, are you trying to start something? And the drunken sailors start yelling some stuff at the soldiers because nobody liked the soldiers. They had never been happy with the soldiers occupying the town and charging all these taxes. So this snowball fight that had been going on suddenly becomes something where the soldiers react by opening fire on an unarmed group of drunk men.
That's just stupid.
It's pretty messed up.
Over snowball.
Over a snowball fight. Now, according to the soldiers, they're like, oh, they attacked us. They threw shards of ice and excrement and blah blah blah. Yeah, but they weren't weapons. They were drunk men that were calling you names and you shot them.
That's just not right.
So let's look at how many people died.
Oh.
5 colonists were killed, including.
Oh, okay.
How many people died?
5.
5.
Or at least
5 colonists died. No soldiers died, FYI. So if you're being attacked by a bunch of colonists, it's not like any of the soldiers' lives were in danger. All right, we're going to pick up with this tomorrow because I actually would like to finish this with you guys. I would like your PDN, your the sheet that we did together. If you're going to lose the crash course video, the one that we were just working